Doing some logging. Tear over them a little bit. Then get up on this guy here. Tipping myself right over. It's pretty. I just look for things that are difficult. You know, I'm trying to find things that are crazy. Obviously, you can get high-sided on anything. The lower your center of gravity is, the more likely you're going to get high-sided. Right? I'll get right up on this guy. Do something crazy where I can try and get high-sided and stuck. And upside down. I'm not approaching this in a technical manner. I'm trying to do things that will highlight what I need to improve or change. As you can see, it wants to get high-sided. The reason for that is the links are further apart now than they were, and I've got less clearance. Something I was trying out. I'm saying you can't work with these things, but you don't want to be getting high-sided all the time. Tires are muddy, wood is wet, so it's a great test of difficult situations. Let's see what this one can do. Keep your speed up, chances of getting high-sided are a lot less than if you go slow, but there are going to be times that the wheels won't touch the ground. But this is the great trade-off with suspension. The wheels can't touch the ground. You can't rock yourself off. Get a little bite for a second. I'm doing this all on purpose. It's not like I'm incapable of getting over something like this if I approach it the right way. I want to see what happens. There we go. So, just making it hard on the little guy here. Okay, let's see how new chassis performs on the rock pile. I trailed over here, so the tires are all muddy. Oh, I gotta get the wheel wideners on this baby. Shock is always coming off that cut from the tire rub. What do you think, Wilson? More steering angle. Tires are slick, man. They are not gripping like they are when they're washed. That's for sure. Once again, the lower center of gravity is doing things that I could normally get around. There we go. Got to pick a slightly different line of that. We do going down the side angle here. Those are slick. Yeah, I'm definitely sliding places. I was doing okay yesterday. The tires are slippery, man. This is going to get crazy right here. No problem. Got over to the crevasse. Now while the tire's up in the air, it's a great time to get over. Pop down into the gully. And away we go. Do a nice controlled descent. Could come blasting down it, but we'll do a controlled descent. I'll run right down the side of it and see how my side angle works. Oh. Yeah. Try my usual assault. See how it goes for me. The slick tires. Lower center of gravity, all that good stuff. See if I'm going to get hung up. Tires have a lot less grip today because of all the mud on them. Oh yeah, they are slippy. And over we come back around, do it again. Come on down this slippy slope here. Do a little steering angle so I can get over where I want to get. Do it again. The tires are a little slippy, but I'm starting to get the feel for them now. And away we go. Alright, so here's another little challenge that I do. I try and come all the way around and get up on the big rock. And because of the tippy nature of these rocks, especially right here where the front wheel steps down, this is usually where it wants to tip right over. Right about here. It gets totally on the tire. It wants to tip over. I'm going to see if I can get by this time. And it didn't. So the lower center of gravity, it has its pluses and its minuses. So you lose a little bit of clearance. Get that stick for me. Thanks, Lucky. Thanks, baby. This is some crazy stuff right in here. When I come off of it this way, and I have to get turned around, some really interesting things happen. I get a little real slip. You see how my front wheel and the front starting to come up? I can't get back up on this big lump because it's going to mess it up. But I can go over here. Now I've tipped this at my other setup over many times doing this. So I know this is a real tippy, this is like a great place to see just how much side grip this thing has, what it can and can't do. At this point, I know it'll go up there. So what I can do is I can start trying to pick different lines and see just where I can get on the rocks. Like if I get much further over than that, you know what I'm saying? You get a little bit over there. But what I have not been able to do is run all the way across the whole rock face without it tipping. Even though it seems like it would be possible. So I'd like to try and run all the way across this big rock face. Right along the top ridge of it. But it just doesn't seem possible. Once I get totally sideways there, once that rear tire steps off, I'm pretty much done. So what I got to try and do, see how my rear tires are sliding? They're going to slide down that face. So if I gas it, I should be able to get up onto the ridge. Or take a massive fall. Let's try it going this way this time. Once you see some crack crawling. Just kind of showing what it can and can't do. And crawl this little gap here. No problem. And then what I'm going to do is I'll come down and try and get up this hill. Which is tricky. Trickier than it looks with these muddy tires. I'm going to have to come around the side of the big rock. I have to cheat. I'm not saying these are the most interesting or the most challenging rocks in the whole world. They're just the rocks I got, guys. So, everything presents its own unique challenge, right? And you can always find things that are too difficult to do and see if you can do them. Like, I think that's pretty crazy, going between those two rocks like that. Now, I'm willing to forgive the lack of clearance if it's still capable, because I can drive around lack of clearance a lot of times. See, like right here where the axle is getting hung up, I think all I need to do is clock that axle back a little bit, go back a point on the link, or bring the bottom link forward. If I bring the bottom link forward, that might help because it'll also create less of a big wide flat spot in the center. But you can drive around a lot of that, you know what I mean? Now a really, really tricky place is this crevice here. The crevice is crazy. See that? So I have yet to be able to go all the way down the crevice without crashing. This is pretty much going to be a crash demonstration. But if I can get down the crevice and land on all four wheels, I consider that a win. Oh boy, did that win! Couldn't do that with the other setup. It would just go head over heels. Ba-dum, 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 ba-dum. So the lower center of gravity can really help you out. Of course, Lucky Dog has to come check it out. But yeah, this is a relatively easy approach up to this point. You get to here, no problem. You can introduce some challenges if you want. But it's right in here where it looks deceptively easy, like you could just go straight at it, but you'll high side on this rock. So I like to get up on the rock, get up on the root, and then, depending on the angle I'm at, see my back tire can get up on that rock. I can do some pretty cool stuff. Tires are so slick. They're caked. See? And that's not what I wanted, but I'll take it. I can work with it. Got to get up on the other side. There you go. Now you can see more of the challenge from this side. How there's a big gap. There's the big rock. And you can easily miss your entry point. And then you've got overhang, which makes it even harder. And then if you come out this way, you're going to be hating life. You don't want to come out that way. You want to get more of an angle. See, that's what that rock does. It twists you, and it puts you the wrong direction. Which is part of the challenge. Plus, it really helps me learn throttle control. If I can roll back and forth on that little rock and not totally lose it, that's a beautiful thing. Now this is where it gets sketchy. It looks like you should be able to do these kinds of things, but what happens is you can see it getting unsettled. It's getting unsettled, and the rear is slipping. Now, you'd love to go forward at this point. You do, you're going to tip right over. I've done it a bunch of times. You've got to keep going until that front end settles down. And even now, I wouldn't want to go forward because I've got to get past that declivity. And my tires are sliding so much, I can't get the side bite to get up it. Now, once I'm past that little declivity, it's pretty much smooth sailing. Get up on here, and this is where I can kind of experiment with what I can and can't get away with. Like, can I run down this rock over here? It looks like you would be able to run all the way down the ridge of this rock. I have so little steering angle. And then see what happens. If you start sliding like that, you see the challenges a little better. You got the big rock. You got this rock that's right in your way. A little more wheel speed sometimes is what you need to be able to kind of bounce up over it. But see, if you end up hung up on that one shelf rock, this one right here, it'll just hold your tire. There we go. Now I got something. Now it's easy. More or less. Get up on this would be ideal. Just climb straight up on that. Yep, that's what I like to do. I'm learning how to crawl as I design chassis and parts and stuff, because it's just how my mind works. A lot of times, what makes me feel like getting out here and doing this is having built a new part that I want to test out. And maybe change the suspension point. I want to see what difference it really makes. See how that tire comes up in the air? That's perfect for getting that kind of thing to happen. Go. And after that, it's relatively easy as long as you don't get yourself high-sided on something. And through the little crevice. There you go. So that's a challenge. You come back up onto it and try differently. Do it again. And again.